Today, on Ambition Blueprint, we're sitting down with Miguel Guzman, an aspiring real estate professional who made a massive leap from working at Walmart to going full-time in real estate. Driven by the dream of providing a better life for his family, Miguel has achieved remarkable success stories in a short time. But what really sets Miguel apart in his transformation, from doubting his own worth to realizing he had so much to bring to the table. Today, we'll dive into this journey, the mindset shifts that fueled his growth, and what keeps him pushing forward every day. Miguel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother.
So how did you overcome the fears and doubts of when you had first made that big career shift from Walmart? So you quit Walmart, you went to real estate. How'd you overcome that doubt?
Honestly, man, people give me too much credit because it was just like, I was working both, and then it got to a point where I was, like my attendance points, I was at my max,
Yeah.
and I had a new listing coming up and I had to do an open house there. And, so this was a week, like I had a week before that open house. And, I was just like, well, we're just going to see what happens. I have to do this open house. Real estate's my priority.
Did you skip work that day to do your open house?
Yeah, I did. And that's what put me over. But between, having that realization or, the week before the open house, in that week, I had like 5 or 6 people reach out to me. They were ready to go, so I was like, to me, it was just like a sign, and it definitely gave me some comfort. It made it a lot easier because if I didn't have, if that hadn't happened, I don't know if I would have made the leap yet, but I don't know. For me, I say this a lot, there's too many coincidences for them to just be coincidences. There's something else out there working. And I think it was, meant for me to make that leap at that time.
I know you talk a lot about you want a better life for your family and that keeps you driven. What's your main purpose of just not giving up and just keep on pushing for better success?
It's my daughter, that's my drive. That's my why. I talk about that in the office, is what's your why? What's your motivation? And there's times that, I'm like, before going door knocking or before coming on the podcast or before doing any, sometimes I'm anxious and I'm nervous, but, then I just take a moment and just think about, why am I doing this? What's driving me? And I just picture in my mind or, just imagine just my daughter. I just think about my daughter.
So you think if you have some more kids, you need some more wives.
I'll be rich.
Start popping them out.
It's for me. It's just giving her every opportunity that I didn't have. I still want her to learn. How to be financially stable and all this and that, but I don't want her to have to go through it the way that I did. Where I'm 30 years old and just barely learning these things. I want to teach her that from the very beginning, and and just give her every opportunity she could want.
What's the number one thing that you've overcame this past year?
This year?
Yeah, this year.
It's the fear of the being an entrepreneur. It's the uncertainty of when's my next check coming. That was a big one. Luckily I had a good few months that set me up for I got some time that I can not be so paranoid about are we gonna be able to eat next week, but it's still scary. I still, but it's scary, but at the same time it's there's 2 ways to look at it. Am I gonna allow that fear to paralyze me, or am I going to turn that around and use that to motivate me to work harder, to get out there and knock on doors, to make calls, to sit in the office and just absorb the knowledge that's being shared?
I know Alex Mrazzi says something if you're broke, you're obviously not broke enough yet, because you can either pick up the phone, make those cold calls, make the cold emails, or go door knock. There's so many opportunities. What's your number one opportunity that you've seen the most success in to make clients come to you?
Just getting out there and being able to talk to anybody, getting over the fear of just talking to strangers, and just not to toot my own horn, I don't, but I tend to get along with, most people that I encounter.
Yeah.
It's the way you talk, your body language, you're not coming off as like, hey, I'm just trying to sell you a house. It's like, I'm trying to build a relationship. I'm trying to relate to you, as opposed to, I'm just trying to make some money off of you. That to me is one of the keys, one of the many keys to success in being an entrepreneur.
So I know with our team, we usually all are currently reading a book. Is there a book you're reading right now?
Yeah, I just started it last night, actually. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
What's the book that you just finished?
Think and Grow Rich was the one I just finished.
Number one takeaway in that book that you want to share?
Perseverance. No matter what, when it doesn't matter, like right now, I only got one deal under contract and not a whole lot else going on, but I'm not going to allow that to, again, paralyze me. I'm going to use that to motivate me. And I mean, for me, I've learned kind of from that book, but also from past life experiences, is like the key to success is willingness, action, and perseverance. I have to be willing to try the suggestions that, like with you, I had to be willing to do those for sale by owner calls.
Facebook calls are mean.
Yeah, I know, man. I haven't done many since, but I mean, it's still just, like I said, be willing to do the things, to take the suggestions. It's funny, in a different program that I'm in, they have a saying that, these are suggestions, like it's suggested you pull your ripcord when you jump out of a plane for your parachute. I look at it the same way, because now this is all I have. So success is the only option. I have to take those suggestions. If I want to try and be successful, I have to be willing to try anything. I have to put them into action, and I have to keep on doing them, because if not, then I didn't really give it an honest effort.
Would you say that, or what's some ways that keep you grounded?
Meditation, prayer. I have a routine every morning and every night, and I'm not perfect.
Is that like your me time?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that look like?
It's, I wake up in the morning, shower, get ready. Before I leave the house, I got to spend at least 2 to 3 minutes in meditation, and just, trying to clear everything out of my head. Cause you know how it is, I got 100 things I got to do today.
Stuff on the list. Yeah.
But if I'm just scrambling to do things, then I'm not being intentional, so I need to get grounded and like I said, meditate, pray, and ask for willingness to continue to, do for me what I think God's will is for me. I do some readings, and spend some time with the family. And that is big too, because, like I said, that's my why.
Family is another huge one. Speaking on family, what's how do you balance like your personal life and then your kid's life, your wife's life, your family's life, and then business, and then who knows what else you do? Yeah.
Well, I know you were at the team meeting with the investor, Chuck Andrews, I think was his name. And he said, I really took what he said to heart, that there's not really a balance. It's more of like a teeter-totter. And that's the way it's been. There'll be some weeks where I'm like, every day I leave the house at 8 and I don't come back until 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever, and I know that my wife wants me there at home to spend time with them and stuff. But at the same time, I know that I'm the one that's got to, provide for them. So, there'll be weeks like that where I'm just with, taking care of business, doing what I have to do to keep my business going, growing, whatever.
Are there times where you think you're on that other side of the teeter-totter for too long and you can see it being affected on the other side?
Like too much time with the family?
Or just too much time on business, either
yeah.
Or.
Oh, definitely.
How can you make that switch? Do you stay on the other side for longer, or?
No, it's just, we do have a luxury in this business of like, we can kind of manipulate our schedules, and because a lot of the stuff that right now, like I said, I don't have a lot going on right now. So a lot of the stuff that I have going on is stuff to bring business in, and it's not like if I have appointments with somebody, then I got to make that appointment. I got to, I have to, keep my word to my clients. Otherwise, what is it?
I know also another thing on time. Everyone's like, oh, I want to have my own business so I can set my own hours or set my own schedule.
Nope.
Go a little bit into that, because I don't think a lot of people understand that when you work for yourself, there's no holidays, there's no vacations. It's 24/7.
Yeah. It's
probably for the first few years, and then maybe you can get a couple of days off.
Definitely. I mean, you're definitely on call for the first bit, because you want to, when you're just starting out, you got to take what you can get when you can get it. Otherwise, you don't know when the next opportunity is going to come about. So, I mean, that is something that it's been a learning experience for my family, for myself, because I mean, that's kind of how I thought it was going to be, like, oh, I'm going to have so much time. Even my wife, when I switched to full-time real estate, she was like, I thought with you leaving Walmart, you were going to be home a lot more. And it's not. But at the same time, it's nice knowing that, whatever you put in, you'll get out of it, so that all this time that we're putting into it, it'll come back, and then when it comes back, then you got some time to kind of spend a little extra time with the family, do this and that, whatever. But you always got to keep in the back of your mind that, I got to get back out there because, I got to get the next ones lined up.
The grind. So I know you're big on if you give it, it'll come back to you. And then there's this Bible verse that came across today. It's like, it goes like, give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. That's Luke 6:38. So in real estate and life, it often seems like you get back what you put in. How is this idea of you get what you give show up in your daily life or your journey? Like, if you want to share one of your experiences of a time you gave something and then unexpectedly you've gotten something even bigger back. Yeah.
I mean, it's, when I switched to Limitless, it was suggested that, write some handwritten cards, throw some gift cards in there, things like that, and I did all that stuff that they were suggesting. I was sending out gift cards to people that maybe I was hoping would use me for, buying real estate or whatever. And then, a couple months or a month later, then that's when that was that time that I was getting all these calls of, people ready to go, and it wasn't those people that I had sent the cards to, it was just coming from somewhere else. But like I said, there's too many coincidences. To me, it's like, I know that I talk about it in the office, it's like, there's a power out there. And I mean, if we're in flow with it, then we reap those benefits. It's when I try because there's times where I've given with the intention of receiving, with the intention of like, oh, what am I going to get out of this? And then it doesn't end up that way. I have to give out of generosity.
How do you break that mindset of what do I get out of this instead of just giving?
I mean, it's hard. It's something I'm still working on, because it's just, obviously, like I said, I mean, we do these things in hopes that we get something in return. But it's a work in progress. It's checking my motives. I always have to see, why am I doing this or why, whatever, and I mean, sometimes, especially in this business, it's difficult because, we're always looking for something, we're always, hoping for something in return. We're hoping I get your business because I did this or that or whatever. So it's something that I'm really, trying to, learn, and be mindful of. I
think there's a quote out there. I can't remember exactly word for word, but it's like, give and like, don't expect anything else.
And that's when you receive, that's, that, like I said, when you're just giving out of the generosity of, of your heart, that's when it comes back. For me, that's just being of service, doing small things for strangers or whoever, or not only strangers. If you see an opportunity to be of service, that's when you really receive. Because that's what I feel our purpose is to be of service to our fellows and to God. That's what we're here for.
Do you stumble upon a question? What would be one advice that you give to somebody that's starting out on their entrepreneur journey? Like that first step, like what would be your advice to them?
Make as many friends as you can, get to know as many people as you can. Your sphere of influence for me has been the key to my, I suppose, not success or success, however you want to look at it. I've been successful so far, but I'm not where I want to be yet. I want to keep on growing, but my sphere of influence has been what has gotten me to this point, at least.
Manifestation is a huge thing in our company, really, and you just spoke upon it as like you're at a good spot, better than most people, but you're still not at where you want to be. How do you manifest that, of like your vision?
Perseverance, taking action, exactly like I said, those three key things. It's being willing to try different things, to try different things to bring people in, being willing, and then taking action, actually doing those things. There's two different things. I can be willing to do whatever, but if I don't do it, then what good does it do for me? But then taking action and then keep on doing it, because I struggle with it sometimes, of being consistent. I'll go door knock a couple weeks in a row and then won't do it for 3 weeks. Why should I expect to get anything out of that if I don't keep at it? I know that's something that you and Braden, the two youngest guys, you guys are good at it, man. You guys are, and that's another thing too, is always being teachable. It doesn't matter who, like, yeah, you might be younger than me, but dude, I tell everybody all the time, I'm like, he's hungry. He's hungry, man. He's doing these things and he's not stopping. Same thing with Braden, and just like learning from everybody that I can. And what I appreciate about our team is if one person wins, we all win. When you get a sale, I'm like, yeah, man, like it just drives me that much more.
It's like putting gasoline on the team's fire, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then because when I see you, and I'm like, okay, I need to keep getting after it too. I want to win now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like just a huge motivation group. So I know like mindset is a huge key in like entrepreneurship. Like how can you get yourself out of that like negative spiral?
Changing your perspective, looking at it in the light of, what's this negative mindset going to do for me? Is this going to get me closer to where I want to be? It's not, so how can I turn this around? Sometimes, like if I'm driving to wherever and I'm like nervous and I'm like afraid or whatever, or just like poor me, and throwing a pity party, it takes me a little bit, but I've been practicing. I've been working at it, at like, flipping that around. And instead of, poor me, it's, no, we're going to fight for everything. Things might not be going my way right now, but that doesn't mean I just got to sit by and just let it happen. I can get out there and do what I got to do. I can get on social media and start posting, reaching out to everybody. I can go knock on, there's hundreds, thousands of houses,
millions of doors,
millions of homes out there that you can go knock on. There's FISBOs out there. There's all sorts of approaches for us to take. We just have to be, again, willing to take them, and not, and I understand, like I said, it takes time and it takes practice. But for me, I used to allow the pity party to go on for months at a time. And, then it became weeks at a time, and then it's days at a time. And now it's just moments. But it comes with practice, and being mindful, of, what's going on in here. 'Cause that's big.
Is there a book that kind of helped you shape that mindset?
Yeah. For me, it was, probably Think and Grow Rich. There's several books that I can think of. There's Think and Grow Rich. The Courage to be Disliked was big, big for me. That was kind of one that, the big takeaway I got from that one was trauma. You might have trauma or whatever, but what are you going to do? You can continue living in that trauma, or you can work to move forward. And so that, again, it's like I can continue living in this anxiety and this paranoia and this fear, or I can take the steps to overcome them.
What's one piece of advice that you wish you would have known 10 years sooner?
10 years ago?
Yeah.
Quit trying to control things. That for me was like, I was miserable for a good portion of my life. I I don't know if I told you or not, but drinking, I'm an alcoholic. And I was doing it because I didn't like, the way that things were going on around me. I didn't like myself, and I was blaming it on everything around me. And so I would drink to get rid of it, and then I would try and control people and control situations, and like I was miserable, and then I became desperate enough to try something, to get help for it. And then as time goes on, I understand that I have very little control over anything. The only thing I have control of is my next move. So now, something that a mentor of mine burned into my brain is just focus on doing the next right thing. That's it. And the next right thing is not always the next easy thing, not the not the best, the most comfortable thing. Sometimes it's a hard thing, but just focus on doing that and leave the rest in God's hands.
I know one thing I like to keep in my mind a lot is if it's hard, go do it, because a lot of people aren't going to follow you.
Yeah.
It's going to put you above.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, but like I said, for me, it's, understanding that I have very little control over a lot of things. And that's like, even in this business too, is like, I don't have control of whether somebody's going to use me as their agent or not. But not allowing that to, throw me off. It's like, okay, they're not going to use me. Let me focus on the next person, or let me try reaching out to these like other people, because I can't control them, and that's okay. I'm okay with that today. Again, it's something that I'm practicing and I'm working on getting better at. But I don't allow it to ruin, months, weeks, for me anymore. It's just, sometimes it's just a moment, and I ask God to remove it from me, and keep moving forward.
What were some of the biggest challenges in your journey from Walmart to real estate, and how did you push through them?
Oh, it's the time management, and also the balance with the family and everything. And balance is something that we're still working on at home, because it's like I said, I could spend all day, days in a row just working on the business and not really, I got a 10-month-old, 9-month-old at home. And, she's not getting in, she's only getting older, and I want to be there for those moments. And I know my wife wants me to be there to help her and to be there for to watch her grow. So it was, learning how to put the phone down and say like, okay, this time here is for my family. Whatever else is going on, unless it's something like an emergency or whatever, it can wait an hour or a couple hours. Yeah. I'll get back to them. It just doesn't have to happen right at this second. So I mean, learning how to manage my time and be present when I have like family time or this time or whatever time, be intentional with that time and be present in that time, as opposed to worrying about what else I have to do, or where am I going to get my next sale from, or whatever.
To manage your time, what do you do best?
I have to write it down on my planner. For me,
you still got the sticky notes in the pocket?
I got one. Yeah, I brought one.
Actually.
Yeah, just one for today. What I've been doing, because like, so I'll write my week down. Like make my schedule for the week. Mm-hmm. For me, it helps to get it out of here and have it down on paper. Because if it's just in here, then I'm constantly like, oh, what was I supposed to? Was I supposed to do something or whatever? And now the sticky note is just my to-do list for the day, not like the whole month of.
It's awesome. I feel like sometimes I'll have like 10 things, 20 things in my head, and then throughout the day I'll forget like half of those. Mm-hmm. Like, oh shoot, I'm supposed to follow up with today. Right.
So that's why that's what the sticky note's for. That's what the weekly planner is for. So that way it's not, because like I said, I want to be present when I'm in. Like right here, right now, I want to be present, or when I'm meeting with doing a buyer consult or whatever, anybody at all, I want to be present and be able to relate to that person. And I cannot do that if I'm worried about,
what's in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. What else I have to do.
Definitely. So you are wearing a Relentless hat. Do you want to give us a shout out?
Always. Yeah. TJ, Sierra, Noah, Kara, all you guys, man. I love you guys because, I mean, you guys are another thing that I got from Think and Grow Rich is the mastermind group. Mm-hmm. And these are the people that are like-minded and, are hungry and each one has their own strength, but together, nobody can beat us. I mean, and it's not like we're not going to be number one right away. It's
surrounding yourself with the right people instead of surrounding yourself with people that you don't want to be like.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was big for me too. I nowadays, you guys are my best friends, man, because I know that we all want the same thing for ourselves and for each other. Whereas, in my previous life, I wasn't, not that, I still keep in touch with, those people, but at the same time, it's like, I have to understand that if I spend enough time with them, I'm going to fall back into that lifestyle that I don't want to fall back into.
I know there's that big quote out there of like, you hang out with 4 people or you hang out with 5 people drinking, you're going to become that 6th drinker. Mm-hmm. And then if you hang out with 5 billionaires, you're going to become that 6th billionaire.
Yeah, they got a funny one in the program that I'm in is if you hang out in a barbershop long enough, eventually you're going to get your hair cut. So I'm like, because I did that before, when I was trying to quit. I wasn't trying to quit. I was just, court ordered. I wasn't supposed to, and I did it, but I was still hanging out with the same people. Well, then when there was no court order, what do you think I did? I went right back to it. And I mean, in no time, a day, right back to it. And within a couple months, I was like, man, I need to get back to my, back to my program. Yeah.
What are ways that helps you like get back into those grooves?
Reaching out for help, being vulnerable, and reaching out to my mentor. If I'm feeling off, and I'm not perfect at it, but I meet with him and tell him what's going on, and 9 times out of 10 he tells me the things that I don't want to hear but I need to hear. But reaching out to those people that are not just going to just throw the pity party for me, reaching out to the people that are going to tell me the truth, because it doesn't do them or me any good if they're just there to comfort me or whatever. I got to be told, I'm hard-headed and I have to be told in a certain way what I need to hear, because if not, then I'm just gonna keep on going with it.
Is there anything that you've taken away from joining Relentless? Like what's like you added to your values or added to your life?
A lot. I mean, where I was before, it was just I understand. I suppose the big thing is take responsibility and take action, because for a period of time, I was blaming everything on where I was before, but I wasn't doing anything to help the situation. I was throwing that pity party, and just blaming others. Now, I know that I have to take responsibility if I want to, grow in any way. I have to take responsibility and I have to take action. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned in this switch to Limitless. And also, I mean, surrounding myself with those people that are like-minded and that are hungry for success, like I am, when I'm around them. Because if not, if I'm with others that are just complacent and content with that, whatever, then that's going to be me and I'm not going to do anything, But with, all of Limitless, I know that we're all, wanting more. I really love our slogan is always grateful, but never satisfied. Hey, I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for this life that I get to live today, and grateful that I can take care of my wife and my daughter and our 2 dogs. But I want to give them more. I want to give them every opportunity they could ever want.
Yeah, I will say, I think having more kids is gonna make you that billionaire, not millionaire, but billionaire.
Yeah.
If just one gives you that much drive, then I can't imagine what 10 would do.
Yeah. Oh my God, no.
That's what I want. I want at least 10. Do you think, how do you add faith into your daily life? And do you see that like constantly if it's coming up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, even in entrepreneurship, the principles that I learned in my program that spoken a little bit of, I have to apply them, because if not, like I said, I'll end up miserable. For me in particular, I mean, if not, then I get into here, and this is not a good place to be. It's one of the principles that I in the other program is you can't think your way into a better way of living. You have to live your way into a better way of thinking. So that, to me, that says take the actions, and your mind will follow. The other one is, I can make all the plans I want. I can have all these plans, but in the end, God's plan is the best for me, and I have to understand that and accept it. That's the biggest thing. A lot of us, like I said, if things aren't going my way, then I'm, crying, poor me, when really, there's an opportunity of growth there for me. And I just have to have an open mind and be willing to accept that. There's a lot of things, but my faith is day to day, moment to moment. And sometimes I'm not perfect at it, but luckily today I have an awareness of that when I'm feeling off. And I know the actions, that I can take. But yeah, it's, for me, it's every single day, I have to.
When you feel off, what's something that you can easily like reach out to or just do right away to get you out of that mindset?
So there's in the book that I have, there's 4 things. The first one is ask God to remove it, whether it be resentment, whether it be fear, anxiety, despair, whatever it is. Ask God to remove it, not the situation, because like I said, we don't have any control over that, but to remove that negative emotion from me and get me to see it in a different light. The second one is talk to somebody about it, because then, like I said, that gets it out of here and just gets it out there. Yeah. Then the third one, if it's necessary, make amends if you've harmed anyone. And the fourth part to that is the biggest part, is find somewhere to be of service, because by the time I do that, I'm not focused on my little problems, whatever I got going on. Anything I have going on today, my mentor calls them Cadillac problems, because there's people out there that are, don't have food to eat, or are being persecuted just for being who they are, where they were born. My problems today don't compare to them, and just to be grateful for the problems that I have today, and also take action still, not just being okay with that, but being grateful for it and taking action.
Does your family understand your values in real estate or your career?
Yeah. They see that, because of this, I'm able to live the life that I always wanted. Like I said, back when I was drinking to find the perfect girl, to have the perfect family, to have the perfect house, to have, all this stuff. And I wasn't working towards any of it, and now, because of this, my wife gets to stay home and take care of our daughter. We have the house, and we don't have to worry about the next payment. We both have a car, we got food, we got everything. And I know that for me, for my family, that's all they ever wanted for me, and to be in this position, to be able to do these things. Yeah, I'm sure it brings them lots of happiness.
What advice would you give to somebody that's trying to stop drinking?
Reach out for help. Or, there's that, or there's the other option of, and it's not so nice, but keep drinking, drink and drink and drink until you can't have any more. And then when you think you can't have any more, drink some more. Because for me, what it took for me was we call it the gift of disparity. I had to be desperate and broken enough to be able to accept certain suggestions that I wasn't able to before, So there's 2 ways, there's the easier way where you can reach out for help and really, do what it takes. Or there's the, take it to where you just can't have anymore. That was the point for me that I had to take it to,
Do you think reaching out to God would have been a better answer? Were you deeply in faith when you were an alcoholic? Or
I thought I was. I thought I was. I mean, I thought I was a faithful person or a good person or this or that or whatever, but I wasn't looking at, the real damage that I was causing. To me, I thought I wasn't hurting anybody. I was like, I'm only hurting myself. Everybody else is fine. But I wasn't looking at the time that my mom spent worrying, or my grandma spent worrying, or, my mom worrying about, like, when's she going to get another call that, I'm downtown again, or, or worse. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was, like I said, I had to become desperate enough to accept God's help. Because prior to that, I thought I was running the show, and with that mindset, nobody could say anything to me, whatever. I didn't care. I was going to keep on going. That's why, and like I said, I know it sounds harsh, but that's why for me, that's what it took. I had to keep on going until I was at the very bottom, and there was no other way to go but up, and, but I mean, it's a lifelong process. But I am grateful for it, because like I said, I get these principles that I learned in my program, and get to apply them to my daily life. And they help me in my business. They help me in my family life. They help me in loving myself. They help me in every aspect of my life. And it's all because of that. It's all because, I mean, and that's the other thing too, is like, yeah, you might be in a terrible spot or whatever, you might be, feel ashamed or, remorse for things that you've done or whatever, but, that can be turned around. They can be your greatest asset. It's just, again, perspective. What are you going to do with it?
I think perspective is a huge thing that we all take for granted sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
What are ways that help you like change that perspective? Because I think sometimes it's harder than normal just to switch that mindset and just be like, if you're not used to it, it's
right.
really hard.
Yeah.
So what are other ways that can help you guide yourself to that perspective changing?
Finding somewhere to be of service, helping somebody else that's less fortunate than you are, because there's plenty of them out there. There's plenty of opportunities out there to for you to do something for somebody else. I mean, yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. Or those four things, like I said, if I'm stuck in this poor mindset, ask God to remove it, and talk to somebody about these things. I know that if I have a problem, if I'm feeling a certain way, I can talk to you or Kara or Noah or Braden or Seal, anybody, TJ, Sierra, whoever. We got people out there. We have resources. We have tools, but we have to use the tools. If not, they just get rusted and they break.
Yeah. Who would you say is like the number one person that you reach out to?
Probably my sponsor. He should be. Yeah. I mean, he's the one that when I really got something going on, I go and talk to him. And like I said, I know that because he and I have similar things. So he knows how my head works. And so he knows that, telling me the fluffy side or whatever, the easier thing is not, that doesn't do me any good. He's going to keep it black and white for me, because if not, if there's any gray area, I'm going to use that to my advantage and manipulate it. And so I need somebody that's going to point out to me when I'm, not doing something right, or and sometimes I don't even know it. Sometimes I don't see it in myself, because I'm so focused on looking at everybody else, that I need somebody else to point it out for me and say, hey, this is something you need to work on.
I know another thing you used to talk about is like what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you eat healthy or eat good, you're going to feel good. Eat crappy, you're going to feel crappy.
Yeah.
Can you like walk me through a day, like what you eat and how it?
Yeah. I mean, so the most important thing for me is, I know in this business, there's a lot of, we're out and about a lot. It's easy to go get Burger King or McDonald's or whatever, go get some fast food. That's easy. But I know how that makes me feel, and so, I don't have like a strict diet or anything, but it's just being mindful of like, all right, yeah, I might want that cheeseburger or the cheeseburger and fries or whatever. But is that gonna, I know how it affects my body, my energy levels, my mind, my ability to be able to talk to people. I mean, so am I gonna allow myself to indulge, or what do I want more? Do I want that little bit of satisfaction for 2 minutes, however long it takes me to eat that meal, or do I want to stay feeling good and stay with this energy and keep on growing my business and doing what I got to do, because exactly like we said, it does make a difference, especially the older that you get. Before I could eat whatever and I was like, yeah, it don't matter, but now, I'm really starting to feel that, if I eat B-dubs the night before, next morning ain't pretty.
Sounds good. I love B-dubs.
Yeah.
Really. What advice would you want to give Ambition Blueprint?
Keep going, man. Don't stop. And you've already been doing it. So just keep with that mindset that you got, the one that I saw, when you came into the office 2 days in with your license, just keep at it. We talk about you in the office, man. You're hungry and you're not afraid to talk to anybody, and I think this goes to show, that's what you're doing. You're just talking to, bringing whoever on, and people that you can learn from and that you can share this stuff with. Like I said, you're giving this stuff away, and it'll come back, but just keep at it,
Has social media been like a huge impact on your business for gaining clients, or is it more just like organic, like reaching out in person?
Mm-hmm. So far it's been my sphere of influence, people that I've already known for a while. But I know that Noah, he says, what you sow today, you'll reap in 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm doing the stuff on social media, posting stuff as consistently as I can, in hopes that it will take off. But so far it hasn't been a major factor in, the small success that I've had. It's something that, like I said, I'm taking that suggestion because I want to reap those benefits. Mm-hmm.
Is there a thing, or what does your social media look like on staying active? Have you noticed more engagement when you first started?
Oh yeah, definitely. But a lot of people don't engage more with the business stuff that I post. It's more of like when I post a picture of my daughter. That's when everybody loves it.
Yeah.
Which is good. But I am looking to grow the business side of it as well. And we have those resources, in the office. It's taken the time to sit down with Sierra or TJ or whoever to help me set up my profiles to succeed, to get more engagement and get more exposure.
Miguel, thank you for joining Ambition Blueprint. Glad to have you on here. Also, have more kids.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.